All right, good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our exclusive distributor preview. I'm Anna Milan, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Safetica. And so before we officially start this exclusive distributor preview, just one quick house rule. I know this is a Teams meeting, but when you can find a Q&A icon at the top portion of your window. So if you have questions along the press or across the presentation, feel free to type in your questions. Click on that Q&A icon, and we have an allocated time for all the questions. We will address them at the end of the presentation. And so, without further ado, there is no better individual to kick off this exclusive distributor preview other than our dearest CEO, Mirek Ren. So, take it away, Mirek.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks a lot. So welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, guys. And yeah, welcome to our new product launch. We're very excited about what we're gonna cover today. And yeah, over the next hour, I'll introduce the latest evolution of Safetica. I think the product that's set to truly revolutionize how people perceive, manage, and secure their data. I think this is a super exciting release, so I hope you're gonna join us in that excitement. If you have any questions, I think there's a Q&A session, so we'll try to answer as many as we can. And so yeah, for now, are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Yes, all right. Cool. So sit back, relax, and join us as we journey into the future of
אתה יכול? הנה, אשתו של זה עדיין פה, אשתו של לובוס.
maybe mute yourself. That may help. So yeah, so let us please join us as we journey into the future of data security or intelligent data security, for that matter. Next slide. You know what? Can it by default turn everybody muted as they joined the call? If with everybody we gonna get some noise, it might get pretty disturbing. All right. So before we dive into the product, I wanna touch on why we're doing it, and we have a few slides that were sort of inspirational or explaining the reasoning behind our new approach to data security. And I think a long story short is data is growing both in importance and volume. And as we step into the age of data security or intelligent data security, I think it's essential to understand the journey that data takes within all the different organizations. And it goes all the way from raw collection to transformation, analysis, and storage. And each of those steps present unique opportunities as well as vulnerabilities. And data, I think you guys have noticed that, the data is being created at an unprecedented pace, with growth that never seen before, and no signs of slowing down. And you know what? With businesses generate those vast volumes of data every second, I think protecting that the data, the constant flow, has become a both challenge and, more importantly, a necessity. Next slide, please. An underlying message is data matters, and probably matters more than ever. Its impact on business success and risk is undeniable. Insights derived from data aren't just an advantage, they're essential for growth. I think we're a good example. We're very data-driven companies, and I think data-driven companies are simply better. So data will become a more important centerpiece of a lot of companies, and the importance of data security will just rise with it. And according to McKinsey, I think they say that all the companies that are data-driven are far more likely to attract new customers, increase profitability, and survive in this new DNA. And yet, with the great value comes great risk. IBM reports the average data breach costs staggering $4.5 million, impacting all finances, reputation, and more, or most importantly, customers' trust. And trust is really hard to build and super easy to lose. So reputation is at stakes. And yeah, we all know that people keep spending more money for data security. It could be up to 250 billion or more by 2030. And I think it just underscores the importance of data, just not for creating value, but our need to safeguard it in a world where the stakes are higher than ever. Next time. And big topic, I think you all been in tech for a long time, and we all notice the rise and uprise of AI or artificial intelligence. So AI for sure is a double-edged sword in cybersecurity. We all know that. On one hand, it empowers defenders to predict, detect, and respond to threats with pretty much unprecedented speed and accuracy. That's great. And Deloitte projects that AI-driven cybersecurity solutions will account for over 30, probably more, of security budgets for in the incoming years. I think it reflects its critical role in defense. I think, and here comes the problem, because AI not is only a powerful tool for defenders, but for us, but also for attackers, enabling them to automate their attacks, evade detection, and exploit vulnerabilities at scale. I think at scale part is really tricky. And this ongoing game of cat and mouse, if you will, underscores the need for predictive, autonomous, and adaptive tools, solutions that we strive to build, solutions that proactively counter threats as they emerge. Next slide. So I think in this shifting threat landscape, cybersecurity solutions, must just be agile simply to keep up, be relevant. Gartner emphasizes that the future of security lies what they call a real-time threat intelligence, automated responses, and adaptability to face evolving risks. I think, simply put, it's all about solutions that will just work for you without you being involved to the extent possible. And the security tools shouldn't hinder your productivity. I think that's the catch. User needs tools that support, not disrupt their workflows. Data security has been always the biggest challenge for data security traditionally has been the productivity interference. And so that means intelligent, user-centric solutions that integrate seamlessly into these operations, empowering users to work confidently without that disruption. And this is our goal, right? Deliver this powerful, invisible security that allows your productivity to flourish rather than the other way around. So next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to intelligent data security and the concept of a security solution that doesn't just watch, but learns, anticipates, and evolves with you. Next slide. Probably next one. As many of you know, we've been in data security business for over 15 years. And with this launch, we bring together all that experience, proprietary technology expertise, paired with the power of AI to deliver a transformative approach to securing data. While much of this release is revolutionary, it's built on a solid foundation that supports over 3,000 customers globally. And for us, and I hope for you as well, this is an incredibly exciting release with a lot of innovation, and there is a much more innovation down the road on the way. So trust me on this one. This is just the beginning. Please, next slide. So how do you how do you define intelligent technology or intelligent data security? And the solutions are characterized usually by their ability to do three things: learn, predict, and adopt. So for the learning part, imagine a data security or any solution that doesn't require constant oversight, but it's always learning. So over the time, it builds a comprehensive understanding what is normal, what normal looks like within your organization. So it can also identify things that are not normal, right? That helps with precision of the tool's decision-making process. And now, what if your security system could go up a step further, and with predictive capabilities, it identifies threats and risks before they become problems? The before part is really important, because when you have a problem, it's usually a much more difficult and much more expensive to deal with. And analyzing those vast amounts of data in real time and predicts potential vulnerabilities and creating defense that's always at least one step ahead is the goal, right? Like really being that 1 or 2 steps or 3 or 4 steps ahead, stop the problems before they become a problems. And last but not least, adapting, because at the end of the day, you want tool to change with the environment. So true power lies in that adaptability, because unlike the traditional solution, the intelligent solutions, intelligent security systems recalibrates with those new threats and refining policies and adjusting controls as we go. So so you don't have to make the manual changes. You don't have to do manual updates because they are unreliable and tedious, and you just don't want to do it because it's gonna slow you down, and you don't want to slow down your business for no good reason. Next slide, please. So what is that sets us apart? What makes Safetica different? And I've been with the company since the beginning of the year, and there's a question I've been asking myself and the team over and over and over. And I think we finally have the answer, and I think the answer is named the contextual defense. Next slide. What is it? Contextual defense is our breakthrough innovation concept with intelligent data security. It's under the hood. This is what empowers our intelligent data security idea. Why? Simply put, because the context matters more than ever. Next slide. And I'll you have read this definition of the contextual defense is, what, again, if I oversimplify it is a solution that works for you, right? It reduces reduces false positives. It activates only when it's needed and makes your lives easier and safer. And as I said, using all that experience and AI to make those decisions, use multiple signals, again, to be a tool that's helpful, not hindering on your productivity. And you know what? We believe this marks a true. I can probably click one more. Yeah, I think this marks like for us, this marks a true step forward in how data security should be handled. Right? It's going away from just those manually defined policies to this, maybe, for lack of a better term, dynamic DLP approach, dynamic security policy approach. And I personally call this an evolutionary revolution. Right? It's a revolution, but it's an evolution based on what we have been doing for those 15 years. And as I pointed out before, this is just the beginning. This is the first version. This is the direction, and this is the first version of what we want to deliver. And I'm incredibly proud. I'm really proud of what our teams have accomplished in less than 9 months. Elevating our product to a whole new level. Right? It was very good before, and now we're taking it to a different level. So now to dive into the specifics, there is no one better than Anna, our product marketing manager. We also have Zbynek, CTO, in case there is more questions that we're gonna have on the technical side of our product, to show you exactly what makes this really so impactful. Thank you very much, and over to you, Anna.
Thank you so much, Mirek. So, as I've mentioned earlier, we've come to a very, very exciting chapter within, Safetica's journey to data security. Mirek set the stage very well. Um, Intelligent data security in this day and age is not only, it's not a must, it's not a nice to have, it's now a must have, it's now a critical business need. Um, and he did mention about our unique differentiator, which is contextual defense. Again, to reiterate, intelligent data security is what we do, and contextual defense is what makes us different. You guys know it. You are in the field, and you know that the competitors are. We have a lot of competitors. There's so much noise. There's so much, marketing efforts going around data security. And contextual defense is not only our core innovation, but it's also our way to be top of mind of businesses, to evoke that feeling that, I must have safety guy. I gotta have this solution. And so I want to take a few minutes to really talk about this innovation, to make it relatable, make it relevant to you. And so I want to break down what makes it truly impactful. I don't want you to think, it's just another marketing jargon, because it's not. It's really something that is what makes us stand out, is what will make us top of mind, and it is our core innovation. So I would like to start by saying that contextual defense, our AI powered engine, is already in three foundational capabilities in our product now. And that's namely smart classification, contextual risk analysis, and adaptive security. And I'll explain to you in more detail. So first is smart classification. With smart classification, Safetica makes sure that no sensitive data slips through the cracks, because we're using this context aware approach. Again, this is nothing new to you. We've been doing this. We've been talking about Safetica unified classification, but this one takes it, a notch higher. So what it does is that it accurately detects sensitive information by looking at both the content itself and the surrounding context, like file properties, metadata, and even classifications from other systems. So, again, think of it as this comprehensive system or security check that doesn't just glance at what's in front, but also understands the full picture. So by combining content analysis with these context signals, Safetica intelligently classifies and identifies all types of sensitive data. And of course, this way we ensure that nothing important is overlooked. And what is the best part? You see this in the bold letters there on the slide. We can say, and our goal is to say goodbye to frustrating false positives. Next. Next is contextual risk analysis. So every time your team performs a data-related action, such as copying a file or uploading content to a website, Safetica analyzes and assigns a risk score to that activity. So this scoring process looks at rich context, such as time of the day, the data destination, the transfer method, and how this data has been classified. And so by examining all these details, Safetica can immediately spot high-risk actions and flag them even before they become a problem. So again, with contextual risk analysis, Safetica can understand how users interact with data, with applications, with systems. And the result, you can, or organizations can, banish alert fatigue. Your IT admin only sees the most critical alerts. IT admins then can be able to respond quickly and effectively without being overwhelmed by all the noise, by all the unnecessary alerts. And later on, Yan will show you how we've transformed one of our dashboards to really showcase and provide you with these relevant alerts, these meaningful alerts that are worthy of your IT admin's attention. And then finally, we have Adaptive security. So, as the name implies, with contextual defense, your security automatically adjusts to protect your data without causing unnecessary interruptions. So, it works by learning how your team typically handles data. So, when something out of the ordinary happens, what Safetica does is it steps in. If a risk threshold is crossed, a notification is sent to the user with probably an option to override if there's a justified or if there's a good business justification. So for example, an HR manager would typically just work with a couple of, sensitive data. But when this HR manager starts sending out dozens of copies of CVs or employee health records, then that's a signal for Safetica to block that activity. So if unusual activity continues or something more serious occurs, Safetica automatically blocks that activity. It adapts and adjusts to the changing behavior of the user. And the goal is, again, very clear to keep your security tight, but at the same time, make sure that your employees are not interrupted with their daily work because safety understands what's normal behavior. And if there's a change in behavior, then it can also change and adjust its defenses based on that. And so with adaptive security, Safetica constantly updates data protection policies based on the context, based on the changing context. And it ensures that, the data protection is always in sync with the current situation. And so we have smart classification, contextual risk analysis, adaptive security, and these foundational capabilities come together to define what intelligent data security is. Earlier, Mirek explained to us, what are the characteristics of an intelligent data security solution? And he talked about the ability to learn, the ability to predict, and the ability to adapt. And with smart classification, it continuously learns from your data by recognizing patterns, analyzing context, and refining its understanding of what sensitive is within your organization. Contextual risk analysis brings that predictive power. So, by evaluating patterns, user behavior, historical data, Safetica can foresee where vulnerabilities might emerge. And so you are always, one step ahead. This is like the proactive part of the solution. And then finally, you have dynamic policies, that adapt in real time based on the context, based on risk levels, based on specific data being handled. And this truly ensures that your security remains agile, remains again proactive and responsive no matter what. So you have Yes. If you have questions, again, click on the Q&A icon and we will address those. But again, I know very exciting details that we're sharing now. And so again, contextual defense now powers smart classification, contextual risk analysis, adaptive security. And these capabilities are in the product today. And so to show these capabilities in the product, we have our director of product, Yan Lakatosh. And I turn over the floor to him.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you again. Thanks to Mirek and Anna for the intro, and I'm sure you are all eager to see what specifically this means for the product and how it exactly works. So please bear in mind all the things that were said because these are important. What I will be definitely explaining and showing is the details that you will be able to see and try for yourself in the product. But it's not only about all those new features that you will see, it's about the entire vision that you heard about, and it's about the new direction that we are taking the product. And the features we will go through today are just a manifestation of all the changes that we are intending to do. So definitely there is a bigger picture in the background. There are already things specific that you will see in the product, but as was already said, We are just getting started in this area, and you can expect that we will be investing more and more in the next year and more years to come. And even after today's session, you can expect that there will be updates to the product that will grow what we show today. So specifically to intelligent data security, we will go through two new areas that you will find in the product. These new areas you will find in the product starting next week. So there will be a cloud release, I believe, on Tuesday, which is a little unspecific or atypical. But on Tuesday, you will be able to try it on your own. In case you are super eager and you would like to try the things that you will see today, you can let us know when we can unlock them for you on cloud. For the on-premises versions, we will have a version prepared in a couple of days, and within that version, these things that are supported on on-prem will be unlocked for you too. But without further ado, let's go to the first area, and that is insights. As was already said, contextual defense is about making the administrator's life simple. So we are using our new engine to drive insights from the product. And what this really means is that we are trying to simplify what Safetica does for an organization, and we want to turn all those tables and data records and all those overviews that we have in the product into actionable tasks, a list of things that are worth your attention and that you should be taking care of. So how it will look like in the product is that we consolidate records from all the different parts of Safetica, and we analyze those records. We drive the important stuff out of those records and put it in insights. Insights is a new area in the product. In case you have been using our cloud version, this is what you could already see in the product for the past couple of months as Admin Center. We are now renaming this to Insights to really stress that these are insights that we are bringing to the user, not really an Admin Center that the admin needs to manage, but these are really insights that the product provides from all the things that we understand and see in the organization. So how you can imagine this is that you end up with a short, simple list of things, and they will be marked as new because they need your attention. And there will be just a couple of things, very, very brief and clear. For example, you will see that there is a high-risk file operation. You don't know what it is, so you will click that, and in the detail or through various new flows that we enable in the product, you will see that there was a high-risk operation. You would see the context of it, who did it, what kind of file was involved, why the file operation was assessed high risk. And after you analyze this, you can mark this specific event that happened as closed, and then you move on to the second event that you have in your list, for example, a blocked website. Then you can analyze why the blocked website was actually blocked, if the policy was actually behaving how it should, if the user was trying to do something by accident or they were trying to do something that's against the security policy. And again, once you do the investigation, maybe you put in some follow-up process, maybe inform the manager or talk to the user, then you can mark that insight also as closed. Then you will see another insight about the blocked device. So you can again investigate this one. You will find out that this is a new device that was not before classified. It wasn't assigned a destination group. So maybe you will assign it, and then you know that this device is now protected as it should be, and then you move on again. And with this, you just go through the list, and after you analyze everything that's new, that hasn't been yet resolved, you end up with a done to-do list, and you know that Safetica no longer requires your attention. So again, it's not about making the product just a couple of things that you need to click and that's it. It's about making the entire product simplified so that you know that once this list that we actually generated for you is closed, you know that from security standpoint, there is no longer a security issue somewhere unresolved. All the incidents, all the potential problems, all the maintenance issues that you have with the product have been resolved. And now if you have another task to attend to, you have another meeting to go through, you know that Safetica no longer requires your attention for the moment. So this is how it should look like in practice. But let's take a look at the product specifically, how this actually looks like in the product. So with this, I will just switch to a different screen where I have a virtual machine, and I will visit the cloud product. I will sign in with my account. Very simple if I'm using a Microsoft authentication. And you can see that Safetica opens with this new homepage, which is already directed to insights. And here, already on the screen, I can see a couple of things. These are not dozens or hundreds of things that I need to analyze. These are just 6 things that are now here. Some of them are from last week. Some of them are new. But these are classified for me as something new that I haven't seen before. If I want to go through them by severity and I want to take care of the most important things, I can just sort by severity. And I can check the most severe problems that I see here. For instance, I can click on this first it's insight, where I see that actually my user on my computer at work was doing a huge file operation process or something that took a longer time, and there was actually data classification involved here. So let's try to take a look at what it really was. So I can see that the user was Jan. He was doing 140 file operations. So maybe I'm wondering what these were. And what I previously should have done was I would go to data, I would add a filter, I would look for risk assessment, maybe high, medium. There is nothing here. I would change the filters so that I find more. There is nothing here still. So I would have to maybe involve more. And with these filters, I could really find the problems, but it was very hard for me to actually pinpoint the things that require attention because I have a lot of logs here about renames. These are not important. So again, if I go back to Insight and I see this operation here, and I just want to check what really was part of this, I can click this simple button, Related Records, and all the relevant records that were part of this Insight are now filtered for me. If I want to, I can click a file, I can go through the risk assessment of the file, I can see it was classified. If I want to check classification, I will be able to see the classification records here. So again, we are trying to simplify the way that administrators use the product. We want to serve them actionable things that they can investigate or follow up on, and then we want to give them tools to investigate them very easily. And then when I have investigated this, and I know that Jan was just playing around, IT was aware. And with this command, I can just close the Insight, and it disappeared from my list, and it's now been resolved. Again, you might worry that someone will close an Insight, hide actions that are a security issue. This is not a problem because with every Insight that you close, it's actually saved, like who closed the Insight. My user is called Safetica in this case, when the Insight was closed, and what was the reasoning for closing the Insight. And actually, if I reveal that I have far more Insights here, if I remove the status filter, you will see that there are far more Insights from last week when I was showing this and testing this out. And every time if I want to investigate like what happened and why the Insight is already closed, I can see a follow-up comment that was left there by the admin who closed the Insight. So this even enables you to have a sort of a multiplayer in your IT organization when more administrators are taking care of various things. And we actually want to encourage our customers to invite more people to use Safetica so that even team leaders, managers, security supervisors can really take care of a department, of a team, of a part of the organization that they are responsible for, and help them manage their people with our product. So with this, you can let them access insights. They will see the people that are assigned to them, and they are able to take care of these actionable insights themselves without the need to talk to the administrator again and again. So this is how insights work. I will go back to the main screen with only the new things filtered, and you can see that there are several types of actions here. For now, we have focused on security issues. So what you will find in Insights today are security issues related to either violations of policies or related to high-risk incidents that require attention. And every time we generate a log, it's specific for a specific user. So every user gets their own insight, and all the context that will be there will depend really on what type of action is happening and what it really is about. And every time you click an incident, you can click on related records, and you are directed to the appropriate section. So in this case, you can see Jan was connecting his USB device. He connected it 3 times actually, which I couldn't see in the inside, but I can see it now that it wasn't an accident. It was something that the user repeated several times. And again, once I have investigated this, I can close the tab, and I can close this as investigated, no action needed. And again, closing the insight, this goes away, and my list is a little smaller, and my work is a little bit more finished. So this is how Insight work. There is one cool new thing that connects insights with contextual defense, and that is that for certain operations like a data policy violation, we now have a summary. And that summary is actually using AI to analyze the record. So you can see that in this specific case, there were 3 files involved. Jan was uploading them to a file sharing site. So let's try to find out. If I click here, I can just see the same summary. Maybe I can click related records and go through the records myself. But if I find this a little too impractical, I can just click this magic summarize button where we actually analyze the logs and summarize them for you. So now with a very easily readable text, you can see what was actually happening. There were 3 files. They were actually Word documents. They had the category Intelligent Data Security Demo. You could see the dynamic policy action demo policy was violated here. And if I want, I can easily just click the button, copy to clipboard, and I can share this summary with either the user's manager, or I can send it over to another IT administrator so that they can follow up, and they will be able to find the specific insight even in their Insights dashboard. Again, this summary is only available for data operations at the moment, but we are improving it. We are improving the way the things are summarized, and then definitely the idea is to enable it in more types of insights to really give you a quick way to summarize what happened and give you an opportunity to share it with someone else. So this is how insights work. Maybe I will pause for a moment, potentially switch to the Q&A session in case there are questions so that we can check what is there, because I would like to answer the questions while I'm still on the topic and not jump from them. I already saw Mateusz's topic about will the administrator see why an action has been assessed as risky. So naturally, you can see if I actually need to filter for high risk. Let's try to filter actually. You can filter for various reasons. If I'm only looking for high or medium risk operations, well, that's strange. Have some. Okay, I don't have an example here in this environment, but naturally, if you have risk involved in an operation, it will be shown to you the same way you can see it in data records. So again, if I go to data and I would look for risk assessment, I think I will only have low incidents in this case. So you can always see the risk assessment details here. So you can see why something was assigned low, medium, or high risk. You can also see it in this detail. There is no explanation for severity assignment. So we are now using severity to prioritize all these insights. So there is no explanation. There are explanations on the back end. We definitely have a logic that considers severity. And there is actually some kind of algorithm to boost the severity when there are more and more operations connected with a single action. I will show it once we go to the second topic. So this severity is not really explained. We try to make it as automatic as possible so that really the most important stuff bubbles up to the high severity level. But for risk assessment, when we are assessing risk, you would have it explained the same way as you have it explained usually in the data records. So hope this answers the question. In case not, feel free to ask another one.
I can read out the questions for you, Jan.
That will be great, Sana.
We have two similar questions. Can these events be exported to the SIEM solution?
That's a great question. Not at the moment. However, this is exactly how we are imagining our new SIEM integration, that actually Insights becomes the center, the overview, the feed that we synchronize and send over to either a SIEM system or to a data analytics system, or these insights will be the sources of all the email alerts that you are receiving from Safetica. So at the moment, it's not perfect because even in the cloud version, there is an alert setting here, there is insights here, there is no SIEM, but really the vision is about tying all these things together, turn insights into the central place where the most important things are, and then this central place will serve as the source of alerts, SIEM tickets, or any other feed for data analytics and analysis.
Another question with regards to the insights. Will it be possible to mark a single event as okay to eliminate the high risk for this type of event so it does not occur again?
That's a great question. At the moment, this is not possible. So let's take a look here, for example. You can see that a user attempted to visit a porn site which is blocked in a company. So if I wanted to maybe allow this, I would have to change my policy. I would have to do a different setting so that the user is not involved in the policy. But definitely, we would like to make this as automatic as possible. So for now, if I mark this as this is actually okay, we don't mind. If I close this inside and the user does it again, which I can actually, I think, do on this environment. So if I go to the same site, you can see it's blocked. In a couple of moments, it will show up as a new insight here. So it will be repeated and repeated. But definitely in the future, we would like to make it possible to kind of like say, don't notify this kind of thing again. And it's a little bit trickier because you want to maybe set it only for a user. You want to set it for the entire company. Maybe you want to actually see it, but not see it as a new insight. So we are investigating how to make this the best we can, but definitely it will be made possible. If you have some things here that repeats too often and you don't want to see it anymore, you will be able to kind of hide it so that it doesn't appear in your list, but it gets still protected, for instance. So along
Should I continue?
Yes, I think we can go to the next question. I hope it did answer whatever the question was.
And it's still related to insights. So is it possible to integrate those insights with some tickets in a ticket system?
Not at the moment again, but yeah, we want to make this possible. So again, if you have a specific ticketing system in mind or you have specific use cases from customers, please let us know, because that's something that we want to enable, but we are collecting inputs on how to make it happen, what kind of format it would have to be, how to do these integrations, whether it's a native API integration or it's something that can be done over email. So if you have something specific in mind, let us know, because we want to make it happen.
And then we do have a couple of roadmap related questions.
So maybe let's leave those to the end, because I will speak about the roadmap, but I wanted to cover the insights questions now while we are still on the topic of insights. Okay, new logs haven't come in yet, but we will see the website blocking in a few moments, I believe. So if there are no more questions for now, I would move on to the second topic, because I promised you that there are actually two topics in the product. And the second topic is dynamic policy actions. And this again ties back to the ideas presented by Mirek and Anna about making the product more adaptive, so that it really adapts to whatever the behavior in the company is and starts behaving more smart. So it's not just a list of policies that are defined and they either block or allow, but it's something more dynamic, and it changes the same way as the environment changes, the user change, or the organization evolves. So to make this happen and to make this work, we are connecting three other parts of the product through contextual defense, and that is evaluating data classification, data destinations, the user, and policies. So we are making this possible within policies, but it's not about the policy definition. It's about how our product is actually taking inputs about data classification, about data destinations, and about how policies are configured. And to kind of give you an example of how this would work before we actually see it in the product, let's imagine we have a user, and it's one user. It's not the whole company. It's a specific user. It's John in this case. John is a customer representative, and he has his own way of working. So every day John is writing emails, he's taking phone calls, and he's handling some types of documents. His documents are different from, I don't know, Anna, who's doing marketing, is different from Mirek, who's the CEO, but John specifically works with certain types of documents. Maybe he handles some financial documents, and on average, the usual behavior is that he handles 8 financial documents every day. Sometimes he also needs a personal document, maybe a contract or something related to a customer, so he also handles a personal document, maybe 2 of them with unusual behavior. But John is not really a super high-level employee, so he handles 0 confidential documents. So let's imagine there are only 3 types of documents in a company: financial, personal, and confidential. And John uses financial and personal, but no confidential documents. So now with what we are trying to achieve here is to actually make it simple for John to work, but protect whenever John is doing something fishy, something suspicious, something that is potentially a security issue. So let's imagine John starts sending documents out of the company. And we are analyzing this, of course. And for every type of document, we would do something different. So let's imagine that John sends 5 financial documents. Safetica checks this, not against the policy, but it checks it against John's usual behavior. And we know that John usually sends 8 financial documents, so this is fine. Sure, continue, John, do your job. Then he doesn't send any personal and confidential documents, so this is okay, nothing is happening. But John continues to work. Maybe it's now lunchtime. And John has sent 8 financial documents already. And on the 8th document, Safetica starts noticing something. Okay, John is doing something that's reaching his threshold for usual behavior. We are starting to log things. And again, this was not a new policy that actually hit a new threshold. This was just one single policy that recognized that John's behavior has changed. He crossed a threshold that's usual for him, and now we are starting to log what he's doing. In the meantime, maybe he sends a personal document too, but 1 is enough. 1 is okay. He usually has 2 every day, so 1 is okay. We ignore that. But John continues to work. He sends another financial document and another and another. And in total, he has sent 17 documents already. This is unusual for him. He doesn't do that every day. So Safetica has switched to notification, and actually John is starting to see notifications. Do you really want to send this document? It might be sensitive. It might be against security policies. But maybe John is just super effective today. He had a lot of coffee, and he wants to continue because he's just doing his job. So he confirms and he continues. But again, Safetica is already in notification mode for financial documents. For personal documents, John has sent another and another, and suddenly it's more than usual. So again, we start to log these things too. So you can see that a single policy based on John's behavior is actually doing different things for financial documents and different things for personal documents. But this is not configured by several policies, it's just we are evaluating what's normal for John, and we are adjusting the behavior to what is okay and what is no longer okay. And then John still continues. Maybe he sends even more financial documents, and suddenly he's even blocked because like Safetica evaluates, no, John, this is too much. You shouldn't be doing this. This is out of the usual. And he starts getting blocking for financial documents. And maybe this was totally okay, but maybe John was actually trying to leak financial documents. He never does this much activity with financial documents, so this is protected now. And again, if he sends even more personal documents, he's not blocked, but he starts to get notified. But then if he downloads 10 confidential files and he tries to copy them on a USB drive, we block him straight away. So again, this is not about us doing stricter and stricter and stricter and stricter protection. There are actually usual behavior thresholds that we calculate for every user. And when 1 or 2 or already 3 thresholds are crossed, we take appropriate action. So you can jump from 0 confidential to 10 by a single action. And if you do that, and it's not usual for you, we go straight to blocking. So again, hopefully you get the idea. The idea is that for every user, we have calculations for usual behavior. We know when the behavior is getting maybe unusual, more and more unusual. And then every time there is a virtual threshold crossed, we take appropriate measure. And it can be either notification, it can be blocking. And this is again something you can configure. And again, this could be achieved in the past by setting up a set of policies, a set of classifications, but we don't want customers to deal with that. We just want them to set up a single policy that kind of works. And this is what we are doing with dynamic policy actions. So let's try to take a look in the product, how it actually looks like and how it behaves. I will switch again to the console and I will move to policies. And I have one policy like that already set up here. Let's try to take a look at how it looks like. So here I just have a typical policy name. I set this policy for the classification, which is called Intelligent Data Security Demo. So I have this classification that I'm watching. And then there is this little toggle button, and that is the actual change in the product. So it's not a super huge, complicated configuration feature. It's just a simple toggle. I can turn it off, and I have a typical policy, the same way you would expect a policy to work. But if I actually switch this on, this allows me to define what the dynamic action should be. And suddenly the setting is not about I want to notify every time someone is sending intelligent data security demo files, but it's about I want to be stricter and stricter and stricter all the way to notification. So if I set this to notify, it actually means that we will never block anything. We will only notify users. If I set it to block, we would even go to blocking, but again, there would be gradual progression. So we wouldn't start with blocking, we would start with nothing, then we would go to log, then we would go to notify, and then we would go to block, depending on how much sensitive information were involved in an operation. And this is really how it is configured. There is no other trick thing here. So you have a typical policy, you just set up this policy action. I will leave it to blocking. Actually, it might be a little better for the demo. So I have block as the maximum action. And just to review how my classification is set up, let's take a look at my intelligent data security demo. I have a list of keywords. These are just typical words that you would use in sensitive documents. So very simple example. But again, I just want to remind you there is no threshold setup here. It's just typical. We are looking for every internal keyword, every sensitive keyword, every secret keyword. There is no trick here. So I set up this simple classification. I set up this simple policy, and let's try to see how this behaves. I have a couple of files here. I have a text file which has the word sensitive in it, so it is sensitive. I have a spreadsheet which actually has more than one sensitive information. You can see there is secret, there is also confidential here. Let's try to close it. And then I have a Word document very similar to that. And again, my typical user is able to work with a couple of documents. So again, the calculation happens for this specific user on this specific computer. So it's not something that's set up for the whole company. Every user has their own different calculations. And for this specific user, it's normal to use a couple of sensitive information every day. So I will just try WeTransfer. Yes, sure, I agree. And let's try to upload a couple of files here. So I will maybe upload a single file. I will upload this file. Actually need to set this up this way. And you can see the file is uploaded. It's almost there, and I'm done. So I uploaded a single file. This was fine. Okay. Let's try to refresh WeTransfer. And I'll try to upload maybe all 3 files at the same time. Why not? And this should still be okay. Again, you can see files were uploaded. This is all fine. If I were to wait a little bit, I would see the logs. So if I go back to the console, I can refresh. We can, by the way, see the Pornhub visit I attempted this morning. So you can see it here. If I want to investigate, I can take a look. It was just a single attempt. You can see it here when it occurred. But if I go to data and I will filter for today, we can only see the open operations I did, but I don't see the upload yet. So we would have to wait a couple of more minutes for this to arrive. But let's try to do even more in the meantime. So maybe I start to go crazy. And I have 333 files now that I'm trying to upload. So I will just do the Word documents first. Let's see what happens if I only do the Word documents. I will try to upload all these. It's around 100 files. So let's try to take a look at what happens. Start uploading. And it goes there. This is still okay. And again, I will just give you a disclaimer. This user, I was testing yesterday and I was doing a lot of file uploads. So now it's becoming more normal for the user to do uploads. And this is a tricky part with dynamic policy. I even discussed this with certain partners who are helping us test. This is no longer a very clear thing to test because you cannot just evaluate it. Now it works and now it doesn't, because now my user is actually taking into consideration my behavior from yesterday. And yesterday I really uploaded like 200 files. So now today I will be allowed to do a little bit more than I was allowed yesterday, because now it's becoming more and more normal for me. So now 100 files was allowed. But let's try to see how these things were logged. And I don't see the logs yet, so we will need to wait a little bit, or maybe, oh, I just had a filter on. No, it's still here. So I need to wait a little while for things to arrive. But I will go to WeTransfer and I will continue my data leaks. And now I will try to really upload all 333 files. And let's see what happens. So I start uploading and it will take a little while because it's a lot of files. So all this is going, yeah, uploading. In the meantime, I will check whether new records have arrived. Not yet. I hope the device is communicating fine. Yesterday it was, I swear. But hopefully you get the idea, because now the more I'm doing, the more strict Safetica will start behaving. Maybe now some of these operations were already logged as a security issue. They weren't notified yet, but they were already logged. You can see that they are here. Maybe I will go to a different site. Maybe I will upload some files here too. And okay, that's a lot of ads. My machine was not ready to see so many ads. Okay, and let's try to do a bulk upload here too. At least you will see how we are aggregating things and how these bulk operations behave in practice. Okay, so now upload is happening and it will take a while. The ads are still loading. That's crazy. Okay, I should install an ad block here. So I'm switching back to the console. And if I refresh, now we can see uploads here. And you can see a lot of operations happening here. All these were marked as low risk because they only had data classification. So nothing really important from high or medium or low risk point of view. But now you can see that there was a dynamic action taken. For the moment, this was all not set. Not set means that we didn't actually do any action because we considered the behavior normal. But you can see that the policy was already there. It was taking care of the uploads. It was evaluating them. But for the moment, still at 903, everything was considered okay and nothing was happening there. And if I keep refreshing, maybe we will get more and more logs. And in the meantime, if I go to Insights, you can see nothing here yet because we didn't take any action. Everything was still within normal limits for the user. So nothing is actually visible here. Everything is still okay. We don't really want to scare the administrator, so there is no insight. Still, the logs are available here, so you can see what's happening, but nothing is just highlighted as a security issue yet. Let's try to take a look at file IO. You can see things are uploading. Maybe it was a mistake for me to play with the computer yesterday because now my thresholds are a little thrown off. You can see that the uploads are slower, far slower on this site. In the meantime, maybe we can go to questions because it will take a little while for me to see new logs, but you can expect that the logs will get stricter. The policy action will be changed from not set to log, then it would jump to notify, and we would also get an appropriate insight set up here, which we don't see at the moment because the logs are still in not set mode only. Anna, would you be so kind to just see if there are questions?
Of course. Okay. There was one follow-up question still from the insights, but I guess related to policies. Can we create a policy through insights?
Not yet. That's a great question because naturally, if you see a problem here and you would like to cover it, would be great to create a policy. That's something that we are designing how to make, because maybe even for this, you would like to create an exemption policy. You would like to create a policy for Jan to actually be able to play games because he's a very good guy and he needs some time off. So that would be a great idea. We plan to include it as a quick action that you can take here. But for now, it's actually vice versa. You need to have policies for things to show up in Insights. Some things are already detected dynamically, like this medium or high risk operations. But everything else that you see here is actually caused or created from a policy. So for the moment, policies are required for many things to appear here. But in the future, definitely there will be a way to respond to something by creating a policy. And at the same time, if you create a policy and that's your resolution of the insight, we would also like you to close the insight. So you would be able to create a policy and maybe just click a button, also close insight, and insight would be closed by creating by creating a new policy. So we would do this automatically for you because you responded to the insight, you created a follow-up action, and maybe you are okay to also close the case and move on, do something else. So definitely not there, but we are considering it, and we definitely are open to your feedback. So let us know if you have more specifics in mind.
Okay, here I have a couple of questions which I think are related. So, how does Safetica learn about usual behavior? Are there only from file operations? And then, how long does it take to learn the user behavior? How many files does the user have to send to receive notifications or have a more strict policy?
Great question. We are doing this automatically and there is no configuration needed. So once you have a version of endpoint client that supports this, we are learning usual behavior and we are learning it for every classification that you have specified. And actually there are even like learnings for every rule. So if you have more rules, for example, if I click on this GDPR template, there are a lot of rules here. So for every one of these, we would be able to calculate what's usual for a user to do and what would the numbers be. And we are doing this automatically. Even if you don't want to use dynamic policies, you never want to turn this on, and that's absolutely okay. This is optional. You don't need to use it. We will calculate the usual behavior, and once you create a policy, the policy will already know what's usual and what's not usual. And at the same time, those calculations can be useful. They can provide additional context. They can enrich logs where you don't see much, but it might be interesting to know this was the 5th file that a user uploaded that day, and usually the user only uploads 3 files. That can be something interesting. So definitely from those calculations, we would also like to draw more insights so that you can see some things highlighted here. Also, when you are investigating things like what happened here, we would like to give you more context about what's usual for the user. Who's Jan? What kind of files does he work with usually? What kind of applications does he work with usually? So for these things, we will definitely utilize those information that we are calculating, but there is nothing specific needed. The calculations are happening like as the users work. They are specific to data classifications, and technically there is a 30-day window that we are considering. At the moment it's 30 days. We may be changing it in the future based on behavior and real life feedback, but 30 days are evaluated for deciding what's usual and what's not usual. So if I have a very high traffic Friday and I do something abnormal on Friday, it will be just 1 day out of 30 that we evaluate, and it will not throw off my calculations necessarily. But if I do something over a period of 30 days, it will definitely affect my calculations and my thresholds the way they are set up. So hopefully this is deep enough for you. There is even more on the background. There are some calculations, there are medians calculated, there are some thresholds which are actually multipliers. There is a lot of like thought put into this, but not everything is very easy to explain. So maybe if this is enough for you, I would keep it at this level for now.
Should I move on with the questions?
Maybe I can check whether we got some new logs here. Okay, so everything is not set still. I'm not sure if even the file uploads went through with file IO because it was a very heavy site and the uploads were lagging. So let's try bulk upload here again. Just select all, upload it. So let's go to another question and hopefully
Right, there again a couple of related questions about how would the system or AI behave when files are being encrypted or archived? So what if I'll take a lot of documents to a single file and encrypt it or just zip it? How would the solution react?
So the answer is it would behave the same way as Safetica has behaved in the past few years. So if we cannot read the files, we cannot know what's inside. So definitely you would need to create a new classification to cover those kind of things. Good news, not really related to this specific session that we are having, but there is a new setting in the product that allows you to cover or create classification for unreadable files. You can see here, you can set it up for files where we cannot analyze for content, and you can create a classification to cover these types of documents and protect them. Or even if they are encrypted, it can be either a general or we can look for encrypted files now. So this is not really related to what we are talking about today, but in case you have these kind of use cases, we now have a solution in the product, and you are able to create a separate classification, a separate policy to handle cases when we are not able to scan the inside of the files. But the answer is the same as it always were. If we know what's inside the file, we evaluate it appropriately. If we don't know, then you need to handle that use case in a different configuration that with content scan.
All right, we have three more questions. So you do this operation so many times because of the presentation, and the result is that sending so much files outside sounds as a normal operation for this user.
Yes.
Is it okay? And that was the question. Is it possible or possible?
Yes. Again, this is an installation I did yesterday. So my computer is brand new. It doesn't know what's usual. So it just doesn't know. We have some defaults, but those defaults are more, they are higher rather than lower, because we don't want to block people if we don't know that they are doing something bad. If I had this computer for more than 30 days, everything would work differently. So now I'm able to do a lot of operations, and I can show it why. Because yesterday, and if I filter for yesterday, yesterday I was doing a lot of file operations. Sorry, this is actually 2 days filtered. Okay, only yesterday. I was doing a lot of file operations. You will be able to see it here shortly. Not sure what the problem is with the filter.
And so while that's loading, Yan, again, a related question. So the dynamic action policy, if the user increases his uploads, for example, but does it one by one in a meaningful manner, then would that work? Or
yes,
to trigger the policy, action should be way too much? So if so, I think it can cause a crack for leakage.
Yes. So the dynamic behavior works regardless whether you are doing bulk operations, like I am, 300 files at the same time, or whether you are uploading one by one. In normal life, you don't do 300 file operations usually. You do just a single file, 3 files, 5 files, single file, and then it accumulates. So dynamic policies will cover both cases. Yesterday, I was doing a lot of bulk operations. That's why I need to do even more bulk operations today, because my thresholds are thrown off. Yesterday was an anomalous day for me, and now my average, which is calculated from a single day, is wrong. So hopefully you understand that. But yesterday, if you go through this list with me, I have a lot of logs, and you can see the switch of dynamic actions actually happening here, because I was at not set level. Then I was increasing to log. You can see that these operations were already in logged, and I even see operation context telling me that there was a stricter dynamic policy action. And if I go further and further up, I'm in logging mode, in logging mode, in logging mode, and then I was already in notification mode. But this actually required me to do 85 uploads yesterday. So now I need to do even more to achieve a single threshold of this. And this is the behavior I was looking for today. Maybe if I filter again, we will see something similar, jumping to at least logging. No, still not set. I'm not sure. Maybe there are a lot of logs unsent because I'm generating a lot of traffic. So this does not behave the way I imagined it today. I shouldn't have played with it yesterday, but hopefully you get the idea from the logs yesterday. And if I filter for some insights I had yesterday, so for example this one, you can see that we created a single insight, and there were 145 operations actually involved. And if I check related records, you can see the strictness and the dynamicness of the action happening here. So you can see I ended up with notification, but all this operation that continued went through logging, and initially there was not set, but not set is not included here because we are only including the log and notification actions. So yeah, there are a couple of not set logs here because they happened at the same time, but otherwise the insight was generated from log and notification. So really hard for me to explain what's happening. I understand it, but it's just kind of a problem with these, AI things and dynamic behavior, that it doesn't really behave statically, and you need to adjust to its smartness when explaining.
And do you have more time for a couple of questions?
Definitely, of course.
And so another question is, how will the AI handle sensitive files that are being injected into regular files? Sensitive information being injected into regular files, I think.
I'm not sure if I understand fully how technically you would achieve that. If it's an embedded document within a Word file, again, the answer is it behaves the same way as Safetica has behaved. We evaluate the classification. You can check the classification detail. You will see what kind of things were actually found in the file. But I don't know how to really answer it because I don't know what specifically you might have in mind. If it's a document we can read, we can evaluate for sensitive information, and we can even read the file inside that file. We will provide you with the information, and everything will behave the way you would imagine. Hope that's enough of an answer.
And then the last question in the list, that's not product roadmap related. When you mentioned no configuration needed, does it matter if we have 100 users or 1,000 users? Will configuration be the same?
Yes, so if I go back to how my policy is configured, I have a single policy. It involves one classification, but I can add more classifications here if I want. I set it to dynamic. I choose which channels I want to cover and protect, and if I apply it to my entire organization, it's applied to my entire organization, and it's only a single policy that I need for everything. It's probably not the policy that you would need in real life, because in real life you need to set one environment up differently. Maybe you want to set up various destination groups. You want to do exceptions. You want to involve some type of data destination, but not other types of data destinations. Maybe for certain cases, you don't want dynamic behavior, but you want static behavior. So probably you will not end up with a single policy. But if someone wants to just, run DLP and have it running somehow, you can just use a single dynamic policy action, and all the users will behave depending on their usual behavior. And
All right.
as you can see here, it's actually one single dynamic policy I have. And if I turn on all these other policies, I can use them combined. So it's something that you can optionally add to an existing environment, or you can have a dynamic policy that's complemented with static policies at the same time. So it depends on your behavior, on the use case of the customer, and what you are trying to achieve.
Okay, those are all the questions with regards to dynamic policy.
Great. Due to time, I would switch out of my presentation because those logs are still not coming in. But to give you a little bit of a glimpse to where we are taking this in the future. Some of the questions you asked are already answered here, but just to recap and maybe even broaden the answers. First thing that we want to do with Insights is to work on the user experience, because we want to make it really a central place where people visit. And there are things that you would expect there, maybe nicer visualizations, better details, summarization for all types of insights, maybe more statuses that you can change between. All these things we are evaluating, we are collecting feedback. Thank you if you have already spoken to us about this. We are talking about that every day, and that's the number one goal. We want to kind of work on how insights look like and how they are used, so that they are really a very easy place to manage and use every day. When we are done with that, insights are also coming to Safetica on premises. So if you are using on premises, insights are not there. They won't be there in the next release. But once we are comfortable with the way how they work and how they can be used, we will make them available for on premises too. The advantage with cloud is that we can release every week and we can make the experience better every week. But with on-prem installations, it's always a several month process to get everybody on the latest version. So we just want to make sure that insights are good, they are very good, and then we make them available for on-premises too. For actionable insights that we are creating from data operations today, we definitely want to enrich them with behavior markings and behavior metadata. Many of you are asking about improved user behavior, UEBA, and so on. So this is part of that initiative. We definitely want to focus on this more than we are at the moment. And we want to also include all these metadata about what are common applications, what are common websites the user uses, what kind of visits that they are doing, and how does it relate to various security issues that are highlighted for these users. So we want to incorporate all these things into Insights too. Not there at the moment. We know it's missing, but we will be working to add these things and improve the context that you can see for every operation and every user. We also want to make data destination management a little bit more smarter, to maybe recommend you some destinations to be added as safe or as untrusted. We want to incorporate destinations better into Insights so that you can easily recognize all the new destinations. We recommend which to put as safe, and you can handle them from Insights directly without going through data destination management. So this is again something that we are considering. You have been asking about it. Rest assured, it's in the plans somewhere. And then a question that was already asked, we definitely want to make Insights part of the customer's ecosystem. So this means connecting it to notifications, SIEM, maybe other third parties like a ticketing system. So again, if you have specific things, tools, processes in mind, let us know. We are collecting feedback already on these things, and it's definitely in the plan to grow Insights as the place that we connect to other third parties. And finally, just to give you a full vision of what Insights should be in the long run, right now we are focused on the security because that's why customers buy our product. However, in the future, Insights will be also used to highlight maybe that you have outdated clients, or that you didn't set up a feature yet, or if you are a new customer, we will give you insights on how to use the product to actually get familiar with it, get you started with something. So Insights will really become the central place where people go when they meet the product, when they use the product, when they are looking for important security issues or looking for important maintenance issues. All that should be or should become part of Insights in the long run. So really it will be the one place to connect all the other places that we have in the product. And finally, it's not for today. The overall roadmap is more broad than what you could see today and what I just mentioned coming in the future. Today was all about intelligent data security, so I don't want to focus on things that are outside of this area, but definitely we are not forgetting about all the other things. You are asking about database backups, you are asking about admin audit trail, all those things we are working on at the same time. In case you are not yet aware, there is a new kind of public way how to check our roadmap, we have a tool called Product Board, and there is a portal that you can visit. I will just showcase it very fast. That gives you up-to-date information about what we are working on right now. These are the things we are working on right now. There are the things that we are planning to work on, we are collecting feedback on. We are updating this because it's a tool that we are using for our own planning and our own internal road mapping. In case you weren't familiar with this, please use the link to check the status of what we are working on. You can even submit ideas, provide feedback through the tool if you want. It's something that's not primarily aimed at customers, but for partners, it's probably the most up-to-date way how to get information about what's in the roadmap and whether we are already working on it or not yet. And for next steps, I hand it back to Anna so that we can wrap up and take it from there.
All right, just very quickly, I know we have 2 minutes and I see still a couple of questions. So I know most of you have received the invite for our public launch that's happening on November 21. I will resend this invite to you, the link. So please rally for attendance and participation for our upcoming keynote on the November 21. We have also prepared a launch kit for you, for everyone. So we have updated data sheets, flyers, and so we will make sure that this will be sent out to you within the day, along with the presentation deck and the recording of this event. And that said, should we move on to the Q&A? We have a minute left, and we do have a couple more questions. Alex did ask about how will, sorry, let me just quickly scroll down. It was about, are there any plans to integrate AI with 365 CASB or cloud security? And a related question in the chat is, we want to know if we can have SIEM integration for cloud and Google Space integration.
If I go back to the product, if you set up dynamic policies, they will also work for our Exchange and SharePoint policies. So if you already have Microsoft 365 integrated, the dynamic actions will work also for these cloud services in the same way as before. So some classification work, others don't. That's a whole different topic that I don't want to get into, but dynamic policies will be also part of that. What we also want to do is highlight things happening on SharePoint and Exchange in Insights. At the moment, there is no specific Microsoft 365 insight that you would see here. But if you have, again, policies that are violated and they were violated on SharePoint or Exchange, they show up here too. So already, I think we are covering these things. And I'm not sure if I understand the SIEM integration part. When we connect SIEM to Insights, and Insights actually take information from also cloud services, then I guess the answer is yes, but I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. If not, we can take it offline and maybe answer it offline.
All right, and with that, we are over our 10:30 mark. Again, thank you very much for participating. Your questions have made this event more meaningful. Our doors are always open for additional questions, concerns, so please feel free to reach out to us and expect the follow-up email within the day. And again, please invite your resellers, your partners to our public launch on November 21. Again, thanks everyone. Thank you, Mirek, Jan, Zbigniew, and again, everyone for joining us today.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, guys.